It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello everyone, welcome along to the Rangers Hub on a Tuesday evening instead of a Monday. I think getting back from the game, I think the result yesterday, I think everybody was just feeling a bit flat, so we decided just to have a 24-hour sort of delay in speaking about the events of yesterday. But we've also got to speak about Hearts. We've got the PFA Awards, all that, so tune in and stay tuned. So I am joined as usual by the usual gang. Wilf, how are we?
A lot better than I was yesterday at this time, thank you. Yeah, I'm going along the lines of we're normally on a Monday after a Sunday game, so because the game was on Monday, we'll go Tuesday. Nothing to do with the fact we couldn't talk about it yesterday.
Absolutely. Car, how are we?
Well, I'm not like Wilf, I feel any better today.
Yeah, I know. Laura, you feel much and such?
Yeah, we'd rather not be talking about it again, but we have to, so let's get on with it.
Absolutely. Good or bad, we're always here to react. So, of course, we had a game on a Wednesday night against Hearts. Rangers won 3-0. The team that day was Vic Eston in goal, Nick Docherty, Catherine Hill, Rachel McLaughlin, Lizzie Arnott, Chelsea Cornett, Olivia McLaughlin, Brogan Hay, Jodie McCleary with Rio Hardy and Kirsty Howitt up front. And, well, that was near enough as full strength as you would think.
It was what you would really expect. I mean, you're really looking for goals against Hearts, so start with your two most potent strikers. Vic carrying on in goal was possibly a surprise because she seems to get the cup games, and obviously it was a league game. But I mean, it looks like she is probably going to be the goalkeeper now. As I said on I think it was the last podcast. For me, the reason she's been in and out the team with more or less a cup goal is because she's been away on international duty a lot, but that's finished now until the end of the season. So it would make sense to give her a run because I think she is the better of the two goalkeepers. There isn't a lot in it, but I think she's probably the better of the two goalkeepers. So that wasn't really a surprise to me. But yeah, more or less the team I expected.
Yeah. It seems to be a thing now, Car, it's Rio and Kirsty and Sarah and Jane, doesn't it? It's she's decided that's the two pairings that she's going to stick to.
Yeah, I mean, she's tried all season different combinations of them four, and it seems to have figured that they seem to be the best ones. And I would have argued earlier in the season that Rio and Kirsty together was, desirable. They worked quite well together, but this last wee while it's not maybe come off as well as it had done before. But she's picked her pairing, and that's what she's gone with. So in Joe we trust.
Absolutely, and it was obviously a first start for a long time for Rachel McLaughlin. Laura, I mean, an important player in the team. With Catherine Hill and Nick Docherty in the back, it sort of balances out that back line, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's our strongest back three, really, with Rachel and Nick kind of on the wings, and Kathy's the strong one in the middle. But I think, in hindsight, after yesterday's game, the amount of time Rachel actually played on against Hearts was probably a mistake. But she's getting back to kind of the full fitness for this running, so I can see why Joe's done it. She wasn't to know, obviously, what was going to kind of happen, but it's great to have Rachel back. And as good a job as Kathy's done there, Rachel offers us more width and like attacking, kind of like crossing the ball in, and that's her strength. So yeah, it's great to have her back.
Absolutely. Of course, Wilf, as we just said, it was Rangers 3, Hearts 0. Chelsea Cornet getting the first goal in 20 minutes. A funny sort of goal, wasn't it?
You might want to speak to somebody that was actually in the ground at the time. I was still at Hampden at that time at the Under-18s Youth Cup final. But yeah, I mean, I have seen it back, and it was. I mean, speak to the girls; they were there. They'll tell you more about it because they were there.
Go on in, Car.
Lovely volley, hell of a volley. Comes off one of their defenders' head and in, but it's definitely her goal. Lovely volley from a corner, I'm fairly sure. I haven't really watched it back, but Chelsea seems to be on a form now where she's scoring lots of goals, scoring at every game. Caveat that minus yesterday, but great volley, and looked buzzing, and Rachel McLaughlin was buzzing that she scored again, and just everybody was having a good time.
Yeah, and half time it was 1-0, Laura. Brogan Hay was subbed off for, I believe, Rachel Rowe at half time. Of course, you'd fully expect Rachel Rowe to be starting, but she came off the bench this time.
Yeah, I think again it was Joe kind of, as much as she says one game at a time, she obviously had one eye on yesterday's game. But it's good that we've got the options to either start Rachel Rowe or like have her on the bench and kind of mix the teams up a bit. So because then it's harder for other teams to kind of know what's going to happen. But yeah, it's good to have options, good to have the depth. But it's what it is.
Absolutely. Of course, then the second goal was scored by Lizzie Arnott. Wolf, you were obviously there at that point. Lizzie's back in the goals.
Yeah, I actually got in it. Believe it or not, Bryan, I pitched up at Broadwood at half time just as the teams were coming out. And I was standing in the reception because all the turnstiles were closed. You could see the teams coming back onto the park, and the steward said, "I'm sorry, we're closed." I went, "How can you be closed? There's several hundred people in there and a second half about to start." But we eventually got in. Myself and Demi after hot footing across with Hampden. And we were joined by a friend of mine, Dean from Dundee, who had done exactly the same once I suggested it to him. But yeah, second half started and went 2-0 up, as you say, decent goal. And after that, the game was done after that, really. It was just a case of how many we were going to get, to be perfectly honest.
Absolutely. And as Wolf just said there, Car, the subs came, even more. Kirsty Howitt came on in 70, Jodie McCleary 79, and then Olivia got subbed off as well. Oncoming was Tess Middock, Jane Ross, Sarah Ewins, and Libby Banson. Of course, Libby then a couple of minutes later, probably from about the 18-yard line, just low and hard at the bottom goalie's left. Yeah,
I mean, Libby's kind of had a few injury issues this season. She started off great for us, and then has kind of come back in, does a job for us in that midfield, very physical, and also got her goal, which was nice. Goalie probably should have done a little bit better, but she's taking the chance that it's gone in, exactly what you needed. And after the Hearts game prior, we were quite happy to get a clean sheet and 3 goals, and we were on the up at that point. We thought we were doing quite well, and we've got the depth, as you said. We've got loads of players to come off the bench and shore up, and Joe's not hard fought to make decisions like that, who's coming in, who's starting, who's coming off the bench, and everybody kind of chips in and does what needs to be done. So it's good to have that options there, because you can't run everyone into the ground. So having Libby there as another option is good for us.
Absolutely. Yep. So the final result was 3-0 Rangers, and we stayed was it 3 points behind at that stage in this league. So, and yeah, of course we're playing them yesterday. But before we come on to that, Laura, that was the PFA Awards, and Rangers made a clean sweep. The manager, first of all, picking up the manager of the year. I mean, I believe, when the job she's done, she's came in, she's won an A Cup, she's in a cup final, she's in the running for the league. She's pretty much it's pretty much been a not a perfect season, but she's done so well in her first sort of managerial position.
Yeah, I think if you'd told her at the start of the season she was going to be in this position, she would have snatched your hand off. So she's done absolutely amazing. Even as soon as she came in, the players bought into what she was wanting, like her values and the way she wanted to play and everything. They done it straight away, and they changed the system and everything. She's done amazingly for her. We're going to be pushing them all the way for the title until the last day, pretty much. So she's done amazing, and she deserves it. And I think nobody's going to argue that she didn't deserve it, because as much as Bryan Graham's done a decent job, but he's not won the trophies that obviously Joe's going to win. So there was only one winner for us, and that's not being biased.
And just staying with you, Laura, I mean, I was quite surprised the Hearts manager didn't get a nomination. She's in the Scottish Cup final. She's finished best of the rest as far as outside Rangers, Celtic and Glasgow City. I think she's done a tremendous job there.
Yeah, I didn't understand why she wasn't in there and Grant Scott was in there, because Hibs have done absolutely hee-haw this year, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Eva Ollin's obviously got them to a cup final. She's managed to get points off us. She's pushed Celtic. I think, did they draw as well?
Yeah.
So she's taking points off the top side. She's making them a really strong team. She's bringing youth players through, getting them professional contracts. So she's doing an absolutely brilliant job. And she was probably kind of wondering why she wasn't nominated, but the Hibs manager was. But even at that, she could have been nominated. Joe was still winning it. So
yeah, absolutely. But I was just making the point that I felt the Hearts manager should have been in it, and she wasn't. Wilf, Rachel Rowe won Player of the Year. Was there much debate in that one?
Not for me. I mean, she was my Player of the Year. And I'm always a wee bit funny. I'm always got a wee bit funny thoughts about these awards, because I understand why they have them when they have them, but they should really have them at the end of the season. But then players are all going to be on holiday and stuff like that, so I get that. But no, I think thoroughly deserved for Rachel Rowe. I mean, she's been a revelation since she came in. She's as we keep saying, she needs to look up a bit more. She could probably have had an awful lot more assists than she's got, and probably a few more goals than she's got if she adapted her style of play slightly. But that's the way she plays. I mean, looking at the big picture, she's done great for us. She's turned it on for Wales. You know what I mean? She's obviously she's enhanced Scottish women's football's profile simply because of what she's done internationally as well. So yeah, I think thoroughly deserved award for Rachel Rowe.
Yeah, and Carr, it was a signing that pretty much none of us sort of, especially you guys, didn't have really much knowledge of either. And she's taken everybody by surprise and probably exceeded expectations.
Yeah, she definitely has. She's exactly what we've needed, though. Somebody with a bit about her that's not scared to, go into tackles and take shots on and take players on, good in tight spaces, 3 players around her and she'll always come out with the ball. It's exactly what we've been crying out for. And, we've never played with a 10 before, and she's in there and she's just absolutely running the show most games. So it's exactly what we've needed. So the fact that Joe's got these kind of players in her wheelhouse to bring up here has just been incredible for us. And she definitely puts a bit of fear into other teams, because we've spoken to opposition fans that have said to us, I hope she's not playing, because they just hate playing against her because she's just that good. So it's been an amazing signing for us, and hopefully she's here, because she seems to be enjoying herself. She seems to like that, players don't like her and she's got a bit about her. So she's definitely been a massive signing for us this season.
Yeah, I mean, Laura, it was she sort of stamped her authority quite early on in the game, in this season. She was making goals, scoring goals, and everything just snowballed from there and got better and better.
Yeah, I think she's definitely attained the confidence for how good she started. And I think even with the other players, Joe obviously has that kind of trust and good relationship with all of them, that they just want to go out and want to win for her. So I think Joe must have knew Roy from before, like when she was playing down south and that. So they've obviously had that kind of working relationship there before, whether they played together or whatever, I'm not sure, because I think Roy was at Reading and so was Joe. So they obviously know each other well, and I think that kind of helps when they already have that relationship there, and it's just they've built on it, and it's done wonders for us, because she's been exactly the kind of player we've needed. to kind of push us on.
Absolutely. And Wilf, young player of the year went to Mia McCauley. Mia got obviously some game time last year, but not a whole lot. And then all of a sudden this year she was thrust into the spotlight and played probably more than she ever imagined. Scoring some fabulous goals, long rangers, always going at fullbacks and never that sort of young player, sort of no fear attitude. For a first season, some achievement.
Yeah, for her first season as a professional, she's had an absolutely sensational season. I mean, she's bucked the trend of young players. Because they all say about young players, they're inconsistent. She's certainly not been inconsistent. I mean, Mia's been on it every time she's played. She thoroughly deserves that award. I mean, Paul's asking here, has there ever been a youth player win both awards? Mia could certainly have won both. She certainly could have, and I believe this is the first season there's been women's awards in the PFA awards, which would make sense because obviously it's the Professional Football Association, so they haven't been professional for that long. So I don't think these awards have ever been before. So no, Paul, nobody's ever won both of them because obviously this is the first time they've done it. But it wouldn't have been a surprise had Mia won them both, because she is an absolutely prodigious talent. We'll do very, very well to hold on to her, as we keep saying, because she really is that good. Basically, she can go to wherever she wants to in football. She'll be as successful as she wants to be, I think. But she does seem to have her feet on the ground. She loves Rangers. She clearly loves Rangers. That was evident in her celebrations after the League Cup final. But we'll leave that there. But yeah, I mean, she's brilliant talent, as I say, for a young player, completely consistent, and just phenomenal. I really felt for her yesterday when she rattled that one off the bar. I know we'll come to that, I know, but you know what I mean. That would have been a fitting goal for her on top of her award on Sunday night that her manager picked up on her behalf.
Yes, of course, and we'll come on to that as well. But Car, you've obviously known about Mia for a long time, and you were you had a bit of inside knowledge in the sense that you knew about it, and you'd seen her in the youth teams and stuff. Did even she exceed your expectations of her this season?
Oh, massively. Because we watched her. She played at Ibrox alongside Laura Berry in their cup final, or was it last league game? I can't remember what it was. But we went and watched them and seen them in various games. And then obviously she played against Partick the end of last season. Her and Laura got some minutes. I always had my eye on Laura Berry because I love a striker. I love somebody that's going to score goals. And Mia wasn't, I didn't think she was that kind of player, but she just absolutely come in and taken it by storm. I don't think she expected to get as much game time as she had. She probably thought, signing my first professional contract, I'll get some minutes here and there and I'll see where we are. But she just become, she needs to be the first name on the team sheet every week because she's just that good. And she offers us that width and that cutting inside to take shots on exactly what we need, rather than this trying to walk it in and playing in and around the box. Just get inside and get a shot away is exactly what she's done all season, and that's why she has done so well. So as Will says, she'll go on to do great things, and hopefully she'll stay here because she seems to love it here. She's been here for years in the academy, so hopefully she'll take her time with moving on, and she'll just want to finish her story, I suppose, to go and win some more things with us. But she's just an incredible player and so humble as well. I don't think she actually realizes how good she is, because she is that kind of shy way that almost Kirsty McLean still is, in that way that they don't really want to take the praise as much as they deserve it. It's just incredible to me, because if that was me, I wouldn't be able to fit through doors. My head would be that big. So it's just incredible that they're that humble about it, but she's that good that it's just been an incredible, for us, what we've done with bringing them through. It's just been incredible.
Yeah, and Laura, you obviously, same as Car, have seen her in the youth games and, known about her longer than a lot of other people. What's your sort of assertion of her this season? Is again the same as Car? Was it more than you expected?
Yeah, I think it definitely is. But I think even when you see her at Ibrox when she was in the youth setup, and that she was a player that did stand out amongst kind of the other ones. So it's not really a surprise that she's made it through and obviously got a professional contract. And then Joe obviously thought, right, we need to keep her even longer, extended her contract fairly early on as well. So I think that was going to give a young player confidence anyway. Plus she's playing for the club that she supports. She goes to the men's games. She loves the team. So I think as much as hard as it's going to be if she does kind of go, I think she'll want to make sure that she wins every trophy possible, plays in the Champions League for us before she moves on. So I think we'll at least have her another season or two before she kind of moves on. And she's got a full career ahead there, so there's no any great rush for her to go, unless it's one of the other big clubs, I should say, like down south or abroad, that she deserves to play for.
Yeah, and I think the manager spoke about hopefully getting all these young players tied down and sorted out so that they're not going to leave like Emma Watson did last season, for example. She went to Manchester United on a free transfer, so that's the sort of thing we want to avoid. Right, Wilf. Yes, we're coming to the subject that we're all dreading, but here we are. Yesterday's game, Monday bank holiday. Rangers 0, Celtic 0. The team yesterday changed a lot from what it was, obviously, against Hearts. We had Vic Essen in goal, Nick Docherty, Tess Middag, and Ailey Austin in defence. We had Lizzie Arnott, Olivia McLaughlin, Chelsea Cornett, Mia McCauley, Rachel Rowe in the 10, and then we had Kirsty Howitt and Rio Hardy. So what was your initial, when you seen that team, Wolf? Was that a team that you were thinking, yep, that's going to get the job, or were you thinking, too many changes?
Well, my first thought was, what was the back line all about? I mean, I like Ailey Austin as a player, but she's very young, very inexperienced, and this was arguably the biggest league game of the season. Wondered why she was in there. And I found out at half-time that I believe that Kathy had a niggle. She'd rolled her ankle or something in training, although she had been past fit, so that possibly was the reason that she was left out at the start. So, that explained the injury. A little knock explained that. We said that it must have been something like that, because you don't change your back line unless you have to for a game like that. The rest of it, the way Joe works the squad, I was maybe a bit surprised to see her starting with Rio and Kirsty up front, because although that's to me our strongest starting forward line, because they started against Hearts, I thought she might have maybe done it the other way and put in Jane and Sarah to start with, and then swapped them around the other way. That might have worked better, because when they did come on, there was a bit more energy up top. But as Carl says, we trust in Jo. She knows what she's doing. She picked a team that should have won that game. My biggest concern would have been losing a goal. We didn't lose a goal. The problem that we had was at the other end of the park. We didn't really look in much danger at the back. I think Vic had one save to make. Well, she plucked one out of the sky, and she'd one terrific save early second half when they were in complete control of the game for that period. But apart from that, we didn't look like losing a goal. It was at the other end of the park that we didn't really make enough chances. And now the team was probably much as you'd expect, apart from the fact that Ailey was in for Kathy.
Yeah, I mean, Carr, I think, was it yourself that mentioned about Rachel McLaughlin playing so many minutes against Hearts? Do you think that played a factor in her not starting this game?
I mean, probably. She probably shouldn't have played 90 minutes, because obviously Jo had rested Mia, allegedly, apparently. We don't know for definite, but that's the word that got about, that apparently Mia had a small injury issue and was being rested, so she was 100% for this game. And that's why Brogan was taken off at half-time of the Hearts game, so she could get a rest as well. So you think she would have done the same with Rachel McLaughlin just because of what she offers us in that team? But obviously, maybe she thought, or maybe Rachel said, I'm fine, I can play the full game and I'll be fine. But I still probably would have started with Rachel, just because she offers that. Just get the game won in the first half, and then you can make changes if need be. But obviously, I'm not the manager. I don't know what I'm doing. So Jo's made that call. But looking back on it, Ailey she had a quite good first half, other than maybe the yellow card. But we'll come on to talk about the ref, I'm sure. But rattles the crossbar fairly early on, and we're all kind of eating our words saying why she started her, and then it could have been completely different. But it's just with the injuries, we're getting to that point of the season where everyone's kind of running to the ground a little bit and looking a little bit leggy, especially up front, that we need to make that call, and Jo made that call.
Yeah, and just speaking about Ailey Austin, Laura, Paul's asking, I didn't see the game, I was working, but I was following the comments. How good a shot was Ailey's strike, Austin's strike against the bar? I mean, she picked up the ball around about the halfway line, if I remember, and she strode forward, And the closer she was getting, I was like, just keep going and shoot. Just keep going and shoot. And then all of a sudden, she unleashed a shot. It was easily 30, 35 yards. And it was such a shame it didn't go in.
I think she would have hit it too good. I think she should kind of not hit it as well. It probably goes in, but it was just, we thought as soon as she hit it, we were like, this is going in. We were all jumped up, and then we were like, oh, it's hit off the bar. And it was just a beautiful shot, but I think she did just hit it too sweet, and it obviously comes off the bar. But if that had went in, I think you would now got her back through the door, because she would have been walking on cloud nine. But it was a beautiful shot, but yeah, so unfortunate that didn't go in. And really would have had us eating her words. So be like, why is Ailey starting?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Of course, just before half time, Wilf, Ailey picks up a booking for, I can't even remember what it was. For me, it was a foul. It wasn't a booking, but the referee deemed so. But there was other things happening in the game that he wasn't picking up on, was there?
Well, it was. I mean, for me, it was a nothing challenge. I mean, it was a free kick. It wasn't a yellow card. It was a first and only foul in the game. It was the only foul she committed, I think, in the time she was on the park. There was Celtic players basically kicking their midfielders. Just they were having turns about at it. There was one or two of them having more than their fair share of turns about at it, and he wasn't even speaking to them. And I mean, Ailey was unlucky because it was level with the edge, probably about level with the penalty spot out the far side, which is possibly why she got the booking, and that completely changed her game. I mean, for me, she was our best player up to that point. And then after that, she really had to watch what she was doing. We expected her to get hooked at half time, simply because she was on the yellow card. As I thought she had a terrific game up to that point. The yellow card, as Graham says, was debatable. I think it was a first foul. It wasn't cynical. It wasn't dangerous. It was a foul. These things happen in football. Because it was a first one, at worst you talked to her and say, look, next one of them, and I'm going to have to put you in the book. But I mean, there were Celtic players getting away with 3, 4, and 5 fouls, and the referee just seemed to let it go, and it's frustrating because she was having such a good game, and ultimately I think that's why she got substituted early second half, because early in the second half she gave the referee a bit back, and then she kicked the ball away in frustration. Now, if he was doing his job right, he'd been sent off at that point, because it was a yellow. That was a yellow card. I'm glad he didn't, but straight away Joe just went, Kathy, get sorted, you're going on, because we'll have to get Ailey out of there, because if she did it again, she would certainly be away. But yeah, very harsh. I really felt for her, particularly after she rattled that one off the bar, because I mean it was a hell of a hit. I'm sure somebody in with us said, go and make yourself a hero. I can't remember who it was, but I know it was me. But I thought I could see her lining up. I thought she's just going to hit that. You know what I mean? And just watched the back on Rangers TV, and the Rangers TV commentator, whoever it was, said she hit it off the top of the bar. No, she didn't. She nearly took the face of the bar away with it. You know what I mean? It was a hell of a hit. You know what I mean? And for a young player like that in a game like that, to have the confidence to hit that says a lot about her as a player. Because a lot of younger players would have went, I'll just pass that on, let somebody else take responsibility.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, totally agree. And Carr, you were, in the group chat, we were, obviously speaking about the decisions that were happening. I felt there was a particular player from the other team that was getting away with multiple barges and not even getting spoken to. And then Ailey does one foul and gets booked, and I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing.
Well, I don't understand how they ended the game with no cards. That's the most baffling thing for me, considering some of the tackles and some of the shirt pulls and just some of the conduct. They were, they weren't really playing football yesterday. They were doing everything else just to try and halt us. But the fact that they didn't end with anything was just incredible to me, because some of our, things weren't, there were fouls and there was issues there, but for Natasha Flint, I'm going to call it, Natasha Flint to not get a yellow card in that first half was baffling, because she had 3 or 4 fouls, tackles and barges and what have you, and was maybe spoken to once, and that was it. And we thought she's going to get a card here, because that's the 3rd time that's happened, and he just gave her a quick talking to and then walked away. So That was baffling to me. But the lino also couldn't keep up with the play. There was a couple. She had a shot that luckily didn't go in the back of the net, but she was offside. The lino was a mile behind the play and couldn't keep up and didn't flag it. So there was issues, but it's the SWPL and there's always issues. But in games like that, you really want the ref to be on it just to take that out of the equation, so we could just go and play the game and not make that a factor. Didn't turn out to be a massive factor, but it was baffling to me that Ailey has one foul and gets a yellow card for it and they get nothing. I don't get it.
Yeah. And of course, there was a bit of a pivotal moment at half time, or not, about 70th minute, was Rachel went off Laura. And when I was watching the game live, she seemed to have some ice in her Achilles. I believe it was just around her ankle area. So we're obviously hoping that's nothing too serious, but it kind of, that last, from then on, our play and our sort of attacking sort of strengths just kind of evaporated then, didn't it?
Yeah, I think Joe was maybe doing it tactically, thinking, right, I'll take Rachel Rowe off because she's the one that everybody kind of looks to get the goals or get the assist or whatever. And she thought that everybody else will step up, and then it just didn't work out that way. I think as soon as she took Rachel off, I think it gave them confidence, because they were like, oh, good, that's a threat off. And we just kind of couldn't keep the ball. They were getting the ball. They were just kicking the ball long and just breaking up play. And just as soon as we get drawn into that kind of play, then our game just breaks in, because we play with the ball on the ground, passing it about, nice passes, nice play. And as soon as we get sucked into their game, you're just sitting like, here we go again. Because as soon as that happens, we've seen the story so many times, it just tends to kind of peter out and ends up being a draw. But it was just frustrating. But hopefully Rachel Rose just kind of icing that, because it was maybe a bit niggly rather than it being an actual injury, because it's not the kind of time of year that you want to be losing somebody as important as her when we really need her.
Yeah, and Wilf, obviously, late on in the game, Sarah Ewens comes on, Brogan Hay, Jane Ross comes on, so the whole sort of front line was sort of changed. But as I said to you guys, it was just for the sake of needing a goal and winning the game, we didn't threaten much, did we?
No, as I said earlier, that gave us a bit more kind of mobility up front. It was one of those games when it wasn't working for Rio kind of quite early on. Rio tends to get quite frustrated with herself because it's not working, and there seemed to be quite a lot of that from her. But then when she went off, and as you say, Jane and Sarah came on, there was a bit more movement up front. But by that time, Celtic were quite happy just to sit in and take a point, because a point suited them, and if they could nick something, fine, because they didn't particularly threaten us too much. And trying to break down a packed defence is something that Rangers teams at all levels and all genders struggle with. And as Laura said, it was difficult just to try and break them down. There was no, I don't know, there didn't seem to be a lot of cohesion. We seemed to just get really frustrated. It was just a bad day at the office, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it was they were wasting time. When we get drawn into a game, the way they play, as Laura was saying there, we get drawn into their play. It doesn't suit us. We let them dictate how the game is going to play. The ball was up in the air more than it was on the ground. That's not how we play. We don't play looking for set plays and we'll score off of them. That's what they seem to do all the time. We get drawn into their game, and it's not the way we play. It stifles what we do. It was just a really, really frustrating day at the office. I think, taking my blue tinted glasses off, I think a draw was probably about right, sadly. Having said that, one of the two that came off the bar, that go in, completely different game, because then they have to attack us. If we'd scored, they would have had to come out, because they were quite happy. A draw suited them fine because of their goal difference. But had we scored, they would have had to come out. That would have given us an awful lot more space behind them. And I've got no doubt we'd have capitalised for that with the pace we've got, especially bringing on the likes of Brogan and and Jane and Sarah, because Sarah does run about a lot. Which is probably why Joe left them on the bench, saying, well, they'll open up a bit towards the end, we'll bring on a bit of pace. Unfortunately, we couldn't bring them out because we didn't give them a reason to come out. Yeah.
I mean, it was Wolf just made the point, but Toronto Bear came out with the question, do you think a draw was a fair result, Car?
I mean, yeah, probably. we had maybe 3 real clear-cut chances, and they had 1. So, yeah, probably. We probably should have nicked it at the end there, but it just wasn't to be. But we need to... It's something about these games, big our games where we get a crowd and, it's more of an occasion, just seems to not sit well with the players. And Alan hit it with a stat yesterday that we've not beaten them at Broadwood since we've been there, which I hadn't realised and probably didn't want to think about. But that is true. Like, we've a couple of draws and, we beat them at Hampden and beat them at their place, but we can't seem to do it at ours for some reason. And I don't think it is a mental thing. I don't think the players do anything differently. We just seem to not be able to do it, and they frustrate us and time waste, and then I think that just gets into their heads a bit more and they can't do it. I don't know what it is, but a draw probably is the fair result, over the piece. And it's not really a good advert for Scottish football when it's on Sky Sports again and it's another draw and you're trying to get people into women's football. You're not really going to entice them to come back and want to watch it if that's the kind of games that you're showcasing.
Yeah, very much so. And another question from Ian. Laura, do you have VAR in the women's top flight? I believe there isn't. Is there any plans?
Pass. We had it at the Scottish Cup final and it didn't go in their favour. So the thing is, you can bring VAR in, but it's still the same officials that are operating the system who are incompetent. So they're going to, whether they've got a screen in front of them or no, they're still incompetent at the end of the day. You need officials in that know what they're doing, know what they're talking about to make a decision whether they're on the pitch or in the VAR studio. So does it really make much difference if they bring it in? Probably not until they get better officials.
But I don't think there's enough money in the women's game to use VAR. I mean, what they were trotting out for the men's games when they brought VAR in was if you wanted to use it in a cup game that wasn't going to be live on TV, even if you had VAR facilities in your stadium, it was going to cost $10,000 a game.
Yeah.
So they don't have that kind of money in the women's game. And the way Neil Doncaster's speaking today, it sounds like he's possibly setting up for maybe removing it. Just one of those comments he made today. But I don't know. That's a different conversation for a completely different podcast. But as Laura says, I mean, the officials are terrible. So, I mean, giving them a television screen to look at, you know what I mean? If they ever made the decision, we could still be sitting there now from yesterday, the time it would take it to make a decision. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely. And the current state of play, Celtic on top with 73 points, 102 goals plus. Rangers 29 games, 73 points also, but with 89 plus goal difference. So look, Car, that goal difference is fairly coming home to roost now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of comes down to the games that they've won 5-6-0 and we've only won 2-1 or 1-0, against Hearts, Partick, games like that. We probably should have scored a few more goals against Hibs and we didn't. That's where it's going to kind of come down to. The league wasn't won or lost yesterday. It was won, and lost a couple of weeks ago where we should have won against Hearts and we should have scored and beat Partick Thistle. It's going to come down to those kind of games, not that game. But it's just frustrating because I don't see them not scoring any goals in the next 3 games and us scoring 13 across the 3. I just don't see it, and I'm praying to every god that there is that it might happen, but I just don't see it happening. But if it does, I'll eat my hat and what have you. But it's just one of the things that you're now counting on another team to go and take something off of them, whether it be a draw or a loss, which I don't see. As Wilf said before we come on, Hearts will be on the beach. They're settled in 4th. They're quite happy where they are in a cup final. But, maybe a bit of pride comes into that. They don't want to go and get beat 5-0 again like they did, last week or whenever it was against them. So potentially, but we shouldn't be at the point where we're counting on another team to do our job for us. We should have had this wrapped up weeks ago.
Before I come back to that for you, Laura, just to let everybody know the fixtures that are coming up. Celtic are at home to Partick Thistle on the 12th of May. We are away to Glasgow City the same day. On Wednesday, the 15th of May, it's Hearts versus Celtic away at Hearts. We're away to Hibs same evening. And then on the Sunday, the 19th, which is obviously the last day of the season, we're at home at Partick and Celtic are at home to Hibs. So as Carl was just saying there, Laura, we shouldn't have been in this position, should we? Really?
No, again, we're the kind of masters of our own downfall. Like, we're the better team on paper, we're a better team when we're playing, but again, silly results against, like, drawing against Partick Thistle, and the goal that's probably going to haunt me for the rest of my days, that Jenna just not being strong enough with her hand and just kind of let the goal trickle in at Hearts. It's just the same as last season. It's shooting ourselves in the foot rather than teams actually coming out and being better than us. We're better pretty much every game, but we seem to just keep dropping silly points, and at the end it could kind of cost us. But you can either look at it as Hearts are going to be kind of in holiday mode, but you can also look at Eva's going to want them firing. They've got the cup final against us, so you want to keep the momentum that they've got going. So that's what I'm kind of hanging my hope on, that they're going to be still fired up to kind of keep the momentum going. But it's just one of these things. If all we can do is win our games and hope that something happens elsewhere, but if it doesn't, then that's just the way it plays out.
Yeah, well, as Laura says, they've shot themselves in the foot effectively, haven't they? I mean, it's there was games there to be won. There was games there that they drew that they should have won. I think there'll be a lot of regret over this league campaign at the end, possibly.
Well, the draw, as Laura says, the draw at Partick Thistle and the defeat to Hearts, that's what's cost us. I mean, Carl's right. The goal difference is because we were squeaking 1-goal wins against teams that Celtic were sticking 4, 5, and 6 past, and we should have been doing the same. But ultimately, the goal difference wouldn't matter had we beat Thistle or had we beat Hearts. You know what I mean? The goal difference would be immaterial because we'd be home and hose, would be cooling the champagne, getting ready for a party on Sunday. You know, and it would be nice to win it at Glasgow City's place, but unfortunately that isn't going to happen. As Graham said in the comment we had up there a few minutes ago, next Wednesday is going to be pivotal because I can't see either of the two of us dropping points on Sunday. Next Wednesday when both sides are in Edinburgh, we're at Meadowbank against Hibs, and obviously Celtic's at the Oriam against Hearts. If both Rangers and Celtic win, I think that's it done because it went the last game of the season. I can't see them dropping points, and we won't score enough goals, I don't think, unfortunately. However, there is a chance, as Laura says, Hearts will want to keep the momentum going. But the reason I think they'll be on the beach is because last week their captain suffered an ACL. None of the rest of them will want to miss a cup final by getting injured in a game that ultimately for them means nothing. You know what I mean? So will they really put it? And I hope they do. I hope the pride kicks in and they go, that 5-0 defeat at Parkhead, we don't want to repeat of that. Let's show them what we can actually do. Because I think the only chance Celtic have got of dropping points is to Hearts at the Oriam, because the Oriam's a really difficult place to play because it's really tight, it's really windy, it's not really conducive to decent football, and without question Celtic are a better footballing team than Hearts, although I don't like to say that, but they are. So that's probably the only chance they've got. But we'll just have to wait and see. As Laura says, we just need to do our job because it would be absolutely galling if they drop someone at Hearts and we drop someone at Hibs. That would be galling. We need to win the last 3 games, buy as many as we can, which I don't think will come into it, and then see what happens. And it could make for a fantastic last day at Broadwood against Partick Thistle, or it could be a very sad day. But
absolutely. And Carl, we've got Glasgow City before that, so you know, I mean, I know Glasgow City haven't been as strong as they have been in previous years, but there'll still be there's potential there for, you know, an upset. Well, you know, for Rangers to drop points.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're hemorrhaging players. They've got that many players injured at the moment. It's just criminal for, you know, a side that won so much for so many years. It really is, you know, a shame for them. But I mean, if we don't go and beat them on Sunday, I mean, that would be worse for me, I think, like where we're at the moment because of where they're at. You know, they're in third and they're 7 points behind us and Celtic, something like that. So if we don't go and beat them after beating them 4-1 not that long ago, and you know how we've done this season would be pretty criminal, to be honest. So we have to go and do it. But I'm sure the players will all be fired up. Joe and Nick in their post-match after the game yesterday are saying it's not over, we've just got to go and do our job. So hopefully they're all fired up to go and do that. And if they go and stick 4 past them again, maybe we're on our way, potentially. Me just trying to find any little bit of hope here to grab onto. But we have to go and do it, and you have to go and win every game. That's the main thing. So it will be a challenge. They will put up a fight, the players that they do have, I'm sure they will, but we just have to go and play our game. And on our day, if we play our game, we're better than everyone in this league, in my opinion.
And Laura, City drew with I believe it was Hibs 2-2 at the weekend. So it's there's something definitely there's no reason why we can't go and win.
No, we're definitely a better team than City this season. As Carr said, they've got a lot of injuries. It was pretty near the end that the Hibs scored the goal to kind of draw, so that's going to have deflated them as well. So they either come out firing or they just kind of limp their way to the end of the season because they've got that many players out. But as Carr also said, the players that are going to be fired up, Joe's not going to let them just go into themselves and just kind of hand it to them. We're going to come out fighting, and as Nick had said, it's 3 points are the most important thing, but if we can add a few goals to that as well, then it's going to really help us. But 3 points are the most important thing, and the rest will hopefully take care of itself.
Absolutely. And of course, as I said, we've got I'm just trying to find Glasgow City, Wilf. So I'm looking for a wee score prediction and first goal scorer possible.
Okay, right. I think we're going to absolutely smash them because, as Laura and Carl said, they're not the side they were. They've drawn the last 2 games because they drew with Celtic and then they drew with Hibs. They're not the team they were. I think they're expecting a decent range of support there on Sunday because when I went to buy my tickets, they actually asked if it was a home ticket or an away ticket. But there's only one set of turnstiles, so that doesn't really make a lot of difference. But that's probably just so they know how much, as Laura said to me before we come on, probably so they know how much space to leave us because they have sort of started segregating it. I think a big range of support might put the frighteners up them a little bit because it's not what they're used to there. You know what I mean, at Petershill. And also, you've got to remember, although what we just said about Hearts players, playing for their cup final places, our players are playing for their cup final places as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And Joe, the way Joe's been this season, I think she'll be ruthless. If anybody lets their standards drop, she'll just go, well, see, Hamden, you can just sit out because there's plenty in the squad to rotate. I can't even speak to rotate around about it. So I think that'll spur us on as well if we need any more spurring on because 9 points is critical. As many goals as we can get is also crucial. So you want a score prediction. Obviously, it's going to be Glasgow City 0 because that's what I do. So Glasgow City 0, Rangers 4, and the first goal scorer is going to be young Olivia.
Okay. Carr?
Who's that? Because nobody calls her Olivia, so I was like, who's that?
Sorry, Liv McLaughlin.
There we go. I don't know if I'm that confident. I'm confident. I don't think they'll score. I think we'll be fine that way. I think Vic will shore us up quite good at the back. No more problems at Petershill. I'll go 3-0 and just for no other reason than hope Rachel McLaughlin to score the first goal because she does love a goal at Petershill.
Kat just wants to say she's playing of the match. That's what that comes to.
And Laura?
I'm a number 1 fan.
I was going to say 3-1, but because I care what we like, but for the sake of goal difference, I would say 3-0 to Rangers, and maybe Mia first goal scorer.
Go on then, Bryan. Your call.
You've covered all the bases, so I'm going to have to go either mega high or mega low. So
you can go the same. It's allowed.
Well, I think I might join you all 4-0, and I think Rio might get a shooting boots back. So I'll say Rio is going to score. That'll be us, folks. But as Paul has said earlier on, like and subscribe, guys. We're here covering all the women's games on usually a Monday night. As I say, it was just the bank holiday, and I think the result just put everybody off coming on last night. So it's normally a Monday night. We're going to try and do. I think are we going to do 6:30?
It's going to be a permanent new time at 6:30. Yeah.
We're gonna go before the phone in on a Monday night at 6:30 just to get some hopefully more folk watching it and enjoying the podcast. As I say, depends how many games have been on during the week that we speak about one game or two. Thankfully, we had the Hearts game, the Player of the Year, and the Celtic game to speak about. So sometimes it's a short one, sometimes it's a long pod, but we cover all bases. We're here to speak. So I did, Paul. I did do a prediction 4-0. So yeah. But like and subscribe, guys.
We quite happily just spoke about one game today. We quite happily just spoke about the Hearts game if you truly wanted to.
Yes, 100%. But as I say, the new slot will be 6:30 on a Monday evening. So if you want to tune in and listen to the Rangers women chat, then please join us then. But my thanks to Wilf, Car, and Laura. I know it was a difficult one tonight, but we got there.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
And we shall see you again very, very soon.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.